There are so many decks that you can build with EX3, and while I had been playtesting Digimon with the new Groundmon support, it just wasn't clicking right yet for this week's episode. Instead, I'm going to go back to another deck that I've been working with extensively, Beelzemon. EX3 offers no additional support to Beelzemon, but BT10 did give a few additional buffs to the deck in several ways, which I'll cover in today's Meta Monday episode. As always, if you enjoy these types of videos, do consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell for more future content. This deck runs 5 level 2s, 13 level 3s, 11 level 4s, 7 level 5s, 7 level 6s, 3 level 7s, 6 option cards, and 3 Tamers. For level 2s, this deck runs 1 BT2 Pagumon and 4 BT3 Demimeramon. Returning to the topic of purple eggs, while BT2 Pagumon can trigger multiple times with each attack, Demimeramon is still superior for unbricking and unclogging your hands of unnecessary cards. Early on, drawing into the Beelzemon Blast mode serves no purpose, since the majority of the time you can evo into it from the trash utilizing Ai and Mako for a cheaper Digivolution cost. But otherwise, there aren't any substitutes here. For level 3s, this deck runs 4 BT2 Impmon, 2 BT3 Gazimon, 2 BT6 Impmon, 1 Psychmon, and 4 EX2 Impmon. For this particular lineup, you mandatory need to make a majority of your rookies Impmons, but you'll also want to add some Floodgates for your various matchups. Gazimons assist with memory blocking, which can be detrimental against top decks like blue and green right now. Psychmon, while only at 1 copy, is for cross matchups like Blue Flare and Dark Knightmon. Ideally, I'd like to bump Psychmon to 2, but at this point I'd be cutting an Impmon and at times have whiffed on the Beelzemon mill with no Impmon target. As for Impmons, you have 4 BT2 Impmons that can create a snowball effect of top deck trashing, 2 BT6 Impmons that can recycle a Demon Lord such as BT2 Beelzemon, and the EX2 variant can search for your Beelzemons and Iron Makos off the top 4 cards. Granted, the EX2 variant can also trash you 3 additional cards off the top when it's trashed, but not off of the effect of itself. Its inheritable isn't terrible either, providing a plus 2000 DP buff if the Digimon's name is Beelzemon. No other substitutes here other than that potential Psychmon bump. For level 4s, this is where I shifted some of the cards from my previous deck list. Coming in with 2 Ginkakumon Promote, 1 Loimon, 4 EX2 Dobermon, and 4 Promo Wizardmon. Ginkakumon Promote becomes an interesting interaction when it's chilling in your hand, because honestly, this and Loimon are potentials for lethal. At this point, I put Loimon to 1 in the deck because in the grand scheme of things, your Ai and Mako will likely be tapped, unless you have multiple copies out on the field. Promote, on the other hand, can be utilized easily, especially if you happen to trash EX2 Beelzemon off the top for a free Impmon. As for Dobermon and Wizardmon, I maximized these to 4 each because of their abilities. Dobermon, when deleted, can trash the top 3 cards and then reclaim a purple Digimon or Tamer from the trash. This includes even itself. Wizardmon, when trashed from the top of the deck, nets me a memory, but also lets me use its inheritable to manipulate the top of my stack in case I want to do that first before trashing more cards off the top. With how the deck is designed, this variant is extremely aggressive, omitting even blockers in the build. But if you really want the extra safety net, you could swap out 1 Loimon for a Devimon blocker instead. When it comes to level 5s, I swapped out all of the starter deck Skull Satamon for Baumon. Baumon has a lot of interesting interactions with this deck, especially when paired with the inheritable Promo Wizardmon. Again, you can stack Wizardmon on top or even throw an EX2 Beelzemon on top, so that when Baumon's when attacking effect triggers, you can trash that newly placed Beelzemon to play a new Impmon. Then if Baumon's deleted, you get Beelzemon to come out for free. While it can't attack, this does set up a lot of your plays next turn. But for the other level 5 in this variant, I run 4 Skull Satamons for their trashing effect, memory reclaim ability, and of course, recycling a Demon Lord. Other variants might run Rebellion for the block of retaliation, but keep in mind the effect for this only happens if you trash from the hand, which can be an inherent -1. Optimally, Baumon can quickly set up your Beelzemons for next turn plays. For level 6s, this deck runs all Beelzemons. 1 BT2 Beelzemon for warp Digivolving capability, 2 BT10 Beelzemon for inheritable memory gain for every 10 cards in your trash, but it also has a wideboard removal effect that lets you delete a number of level 4 Digimon for every 10 cards in trash that you have. The memory gain effect is especially useful with Beelzemon Blast Mode, as when you attack, assuming Blast Mode survives, you gain potentially between 2 and 4 memory depending on the size of your trash. Such an amount is easy enough for you to just end the game with Loemon or even Genkakumon Promote. But EX2 Beelzemon is where the main point is. When Digivolving and when attacking, you can trash 2 cards and then delete 1 level 3 or lower Digimon. For every 10 cards, you add 1 to the maximum level. Meaning at a 40 card trash size, you can delete even level 7 Digimon. But the when it's trashed effect from the top of the deck is the best in that you can get to play any of your Impmons, whether you want to mill more, recycle, or search. For level 7s, this deck runs simply Beelzemon Blast Modes. More targets to search off of Impmon, and level 4 removal if it's trashed off the top of the deck. But when it's Digivolved into, you blast your opponent's Digimon of the highest level. Meaning if they only have 1 Digimon, it's going to die regardless. Additionally, your turn for every 10 cards in your trash, this Digimon gets +1 security. No Death Xmons here because likely it's going to be trashed. But if you do, you could run 2 Blast Modes and 1 Death Xmon, and it can be reclaimed by your Dobermon as a backup safety net. Moving to option cards, this deck runs 1 Death the Cannon for hard removal of pretty much any level Digimon, and when it's trashed, you get to add it to your hand. 1 Missed Memory Boost for extra trashing and memory, and 4 Death Slingers. Death Slingers can be manipulated to the top via Wizardmon's effect, while also gaining you memory when it's trashed from the top of the deck. But outside of that, it's removal that honestly gets better as your trash gets bigger. And finally, 3 Tamers in the form of Ian Mako for additional trashing, and Digivolving Beelzemon into Blast Mode. Not a whole lot to say here other than the fact that I found 3 to be the sweet spot for this Tamer versus 4. Though I honestly wish it had a trash effect. This deck is very fun, but also high rolls in many ways. For strengths, when this deck goes off, it goes off, and it makes it damn near hard to come back from. But for weaknesses, this deck suffers from a few. Decks like D-Reaper have no levels, meaning you're immediately on a time clock if you see Mother D-Reaper. Number 2, memory gain effects can be stopped by floodgates. And number 3, if RNG luck-based decks aren't your thing, turn away from this deck. Because sometimes you mill exactly what you want, or you don't. For strengths, this is where you can really manipulate the RNG to some degree, placing exactly the items you want trashed for whatever mechanic you're looking for. Destruction, memory gain, it's all built in. But in the end, I won't be covering too many combos for this deck because this deck has a very fluid strategy. One game you might Rookie Rush, another you might build a full stack. It's just that chaotic. What are your thoughts on today's Meta Monday episode, Bum Rush Beelzemon? Are you excited for the starter deck? We won't be seeing it till next year, but until then, this deck is very fun and offers even new players a different strategy. This is Digi-Panda, logging out.